that's here live and anybody that might be watching this later. Thank you for coming and being in good company and sharing good intentions and joining together as a collective, even though we're all separated, even in different states right now. So, yeah, it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend, an exciting weekend for our country. And I watched the President and Vice President-elect the Saturday night, the speech that they gave, and I just thought they were awesome speeches. I think super positive, super motivating. And I'm sure many of you that are listening to this or watching this have similar views. I'm sure there's people out there that don't have similar views about what I'm going to say, but I don't know, it was pretty amazing to watch a woman get up on stage. Pretty amazing. And they used the word, both of them I think used the word possibility, And it was just really so inspiring, uplifting to see a really big change, to see a woman up there. There's never been a woman up there. And to see that was just, I don't know, for me really special. And I'm sure, many of you think that as well. And using this word of possibility, like what is possible? And I think when we see things, right, we see a woman out there like, oh, that's possible. That's possible for me. Little girls can see that's possible for me in the future. It's, even not for little girls, for people that are interested in running for congressman or congresswoman, or maybe they're going to run for president in the future. I mean, there's something to sort of look to. And when there isn't something to look to, it's a little bit harder to see, right? Like, oh, is this possible? Could this ever happen? And then once it's there, it's like, oh, this is possible. And it sort of shifts it, it shifts that feeling and the, the energy around that question of, is this possible? And I think of so many things in life that are like that. Like even ourselves of like, what am I capable of? What can I do? And I can think of times, and even right now, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. Right? There's times in our life where like, I can't do this. But we're capable of so much that we don't even understand, that we can't comprehend. And to me, seeing her on stage like solidifies that and reminds me of that. Like I'm capable of so much more than my brain even can process and know right now. And so when things happen in life and we're challenged in certain ways, we get that kind of reminder and that inspiration. So for me on Saturday, that's what it was all about, is sort of like getting that hit, that reminder. So sort of if we had a word of the day today, it would be possibility. Julie, just mute yourself for me. Jewel, just mute yourself. It's okay. To me, that would be like the word of the day, of possibility. And our brain is only so expansive, right? Our brain can only know so much. So sometimes we have to kind of dream and imagine and think beyond what we can even see in front of us. And then it is awesome when we see it in front of us, like we did on Saturday. We saw her standing on stage and being the Vice President-elect. Then it's like it expands even more. Like what else is possible? So possibility is our word today. So take a comfortable seated position if you haven't already, and close your eyes. And just come into yourself. So whenever we close our eyes and we begin class, there's sort of this inward journey that happens. There's a kind of a softening of our expectations, softening of our judgments, of our perspectives. And we have the ability to start to expand our realm of possibility, of what we are capable of as human beings. So if you ever find yourself going, I can't do this, most likely you can. It's just really hard. And maybe it is you don't want to, right? There's definitely times, it's the more proper saying is, I don't want to do this. And a lot of times we just still have to kind of push through it, gather our courage, our strength, and push through it. So we soften to ourselves, to our capabilities, to our potential. And we're reminded by those around us that inspire us and encourage us of what we are capable of and even more. Please bring your hands together in front of your heart, palms touching. We'll sing the sound all one time together. You can join if you'd like or simply listen. Please exhale completely. Take a full breath in. May the fruits of our practice be for the upliftment of all beings. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may all beings know true joy and love and the causes of true joy and love. Thanks so much, friends. You can release your hands and open your eyes. Let's start at hands and knees to begin. Let's see what is possible in our bodies tonight. So I'm going to pad my knees. You can do so if you like. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And just start to move with your breath, doing a few cat-cows. So warming up the spine, warming up the shoulders, warming up the pelvis as you move in both directions. So like a skinny cow, letting your back arch and belly move towards the floor. And like an angry cat, tuck your tail under, round your spine up towards the sky. And when you do that, give a little squeeze in your belly and squeeze in your butt muscles. Try to wait for your whole inhale, whole exhale. Go through the full range of motion like you're moving every part of your spine, including your head, right? That's connected to your spine. So you're moving your head as well. I like to imagine I'm moving from the pelvis first as I move in both directions. And try to start it from the pelvis, then move to the head. Go one more in each direction. And then come back to neutral, and you can do little circles in your hips. So circling one direction. They can be big circles, they can be little circles, and even feel when you do those hip circles, feel how your shoulders are even doing some circles. And as you do the circles, you feel your rib cage start to kind of stretch out on one side as the other side draws in. And then reverse, do your circles the other direction. Notice if one way feels a little bit more smooth and easy than the other. And then come back to neutral position. Curl your toes under, make sure those hands are flat, connected to the floor. Lift on up for downward facing dog. So if it feels good to bend one knee, bend the other knee, kind of walk out. Stretching the calf, stretching the back of the leg, stretching your hips up to the sky, stretching your shoulders out. Try to keep your hands flat, connected to the floor. Imagine you could squeeze your arms in, but they don't actually move. And at the same time, imagine you could pull your hands apart, even though they don't move. So working both the inner edges of the arms and the outer edges of the arms and shoulders. Come into a more settled down dog. Lift those hips way high to the sky. You can have a little bend in your knees if that feels better. Nice deep, even breaths. And then inhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Bring your back knee down to the floor. Bring your hands to your hips. Squeeze your left glute. Do a little tuck of your pelvis. Reach your arms up, touch the sky. So a little lunge pose, you feel the stretch through the front of your left hip. the exhale. Then bring your hands down to the floor, to the inside of your right foot, and walk your right foot wider to the right side of the mat, coming into a groin stretch or lizard pose. So you could be up on your hands, you could be on blocks, you can come down into your elbows, feeling that stretch in the right groin and the front of the left hip. Imagine you could drive your right heel down to the floor more, and like you could pull it back to the back edge of the mat. And imagine you could draw the left knee forward to the front edge. So now you're working the muscles around your pelvis, even though you're getting that stretch in the right groin and the front of the left hip. Flare your toes, get active in your feet, steady in your breath. And just even kind of take a moment and reflect on your practice, right? The physical practice of things that you've maybe learned about your body that you didn't think you could, deeper awareness that you've learned about your body. Maybe you've been able to do more challenging poses you never thought you could do. So the possibility of this expansion of your own physical awareness and physical abilities. And same thing goes with meditation practices, right? I'm sure some of you have been like, oh, there's no way I could sit for 5 minutes. And now some of you are sitting for maybe hours at a time doing meditation. We're capable of so much more than we even know. If you're on your elbows, walk back up on your hands. Option 1, keep your left hand where it is, bring your right hand to your hip, reach your right arm up to the sky. Option 2, bend your left knee, coming into twisted monkey, or the thigh stretch. So my right hand is holding my left foot. Flare the left toes as you turn your chest open to the right. So I'm really pulling my foot towards my left butt as I open my chest to the right. Good, strong core. Some of you might come onto the elbow. That's definitely not in the realm of things today. It's a little too tight for me, but some of you might come onto the left elbow, which will intensify the stretch in the thigh. You can also just simply bend the right knee a little bit deeper. That'll also intensify the stretch. Inhale to slowly release that side, and then press back into downward facing dog. And just take a moment and feel the difference right to left. Feel the coursing of blood as it's moving through your body. Feel the different sensations from side to side. And then let's even out. Step the left foot forward, bring the back knee down to the floor, hands to your hips. Squeeze that right glute, almost like you're doing a little tiny tuck of your pelvis underneath you. Start to feel the stretch in the front of your right hip. Reach your arms up, touch the sky. And even that simple little tuck, I can't tell you how many people, especially in like when I'm working with people in PT, they're like, I can't do that. The more they practice, the more I show them, the more I cue them. Oh, all of a sudden it's possible. And the muscles in the front of the right hip start to open, and then learn how to engage that right glute. It takes time, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. Reach up through the fingertips, reach up through the top of the head. A steady breath. Inhale, release your hands down to the inside of the left foot. Walk your left toes a little bit to the left and turn your toes out in an angle slightly. Coming into lizard pose on the left side. Again, drive that left heel down to the floor. Imagine you could pull the left heel back behind you and the right knee forward towards the front of the mat slightly. Feel those muscles around the pelvis engage, and then just try to hold that, but let the pelvis settle towards the floor. You might come onto your elbows, feeling that opening through the left groin area, the front of the right hip. See if you can squeeze your right glute here. Sometimes that's really hard to do because the right hip is so open. So it's sometimes hard to make that right glute turn on. But it is possible. Here on your elbows, come back up onto your hands. Option 1, right hand down, left hand to your hip, twist to the left, reach the left arm up to the sky. Or take twisted monkey pose, twisted thigh stretch. So the left hand holds the right foot, flare the right toes, and then turn your belly to the left. So even here, oh, it's so hard. I'm trying to squeeze my right glute. You'll see it's so much harder here because now we're stretching the front of the right hip even more and the front of the right thigh. So really hard to get that right glute to turn on. Keep the belly engaged as you twist open to the left. Good work. Inhale to slowly release. Step back to downward facing dog. Inhale to high plank pose. Draw your belly in, squeeze your arms and legs towards each other, and then lower down, either knees first or straight legs. Reach your arms back behind you, palms face down to the floor. Push your pubic bone into the floor by engaging your belly and your glutes. Keep that as you lift your arms up and legs up, locust pose. Doesn't matter how high you lift. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Feel the backs of your leg muscles really working to lift the legs up. Belly stays strong. Breath steady. Feel the top of the head lengthen forward as your fingers and toes reach back. Inhale to release, and then press back in a downward facing dog. Again, full stretch, hips high to the sky. Arms are steady and strong, like you can squeeze them in towards each other, but also pull them apart away from each other. Balancing out the muscles working on the inner and the outer edges of the arms. Imagine you can push your chest towards your thighs, but the arms stay lifted and light away from the floor. Walk your feet towards your hands, coming into a forward fold position. If you want to put blocks underneath your hands, take your feet as wide apart as feels okay. Forward fold. Put a little bit more pressure into your heels, like you're sitting your butt back behind you a little bit more as you fold in. Give a little bend in your knees, hands to your hips. Inhale to rise up with a flat back. Coming to the top of the mat. Make sure nothing is behind you on your mat. So you're all the way at the front of the mat. You're going to bend your knees, place your hands in your thighs, sit back for chair pose, Utkatasana. You can keep your hands at your thighs, hands at your hips, or you can reach your arms forward or up. Lots of options. Just look down at your knees and make sure your knees aren't drifting past your toes. That's what's most important. Belly's engaged, back is nice and straight, so there's not a big arch in it. Okay, so pull your belly in, feel that back, make sure it's straight and not in a back bend. You're going to shift your weight to your right foot and step your left foot back behind you, coming into crescent lunge. Again, squeeze that left glute. Try to do that little tuck, which is really hard to do for some of us because we're so tight in the front of the left hip. Reach the arms up, touch the sky. Crescent lunge. Really drive that right heel down to the floor to engage your right glute. It is possible, I promise. Shift your weight back forward, coming into your chair pose. Shift your weight to your left foot, step back, crescent lunge. And you can always put your hands at your hips to give you a little bit more balance support. Squeeze your right glute, try to do that little tiny tuck of your pelvis under. Reach your arms up, touch the sky. Drive that left heel down to the floor. Imagine you go pull the left heel back to the back edge of the mat to turn on that left glute and left hamstring. Reach up for the fingertips, feel that big stretch through the front of your hip. Nice, slow and controlled. Step forward again, chair pose. Do whatever you want with the arms. Back is straight, knees are not past your toes. Shift your weight to your right foot again, step back, crescent lunge. This time, reach your left arm up and stretch up and over, like you're reaching over to the right, like a little crescent moon position. Squeeze that left glute, reach up and over. If you want even more stretch, you could take your right hand and hold your left wrist and give a little bit more pull, encouraging leaning over to the right, but still nice and strong in your core as you do it. Don't just flop over to the right. Okay, slow motion, shift forward into the right foot, coming into chair pose. Sit low, belly in, back straight. Shift your weight to your left foot. Step back, crescent lunge. Left hand to your hip, right arm up. Stretch up and over. Lean over, but stay strong in your core. Lengthen both sides of the torso as you reach up and over. Drive that left heel down to the floor. Steady breath. Again, if you want to hold left hand, hold right wrist. Give a little bit more pull if you're looking for more stretch. Remember, listen to your body and what it needs and wants. Slow motion, we got one more. Come forward, chair. Again, back straight, knees don't go past toes. Sit low. I know your quads are burning, mine are too. Shift the weight to the right foot. Step back, crescent lunge. This time you're going to interlace your fingers behind you. Keep a little bend in your elbows, but reach your knuckles back. Open your chest forward. Squeeze that left glute. Imagine the top of the head lengthens up towards the sky. The sides of the torso lengthen up towards the sky. Shift the weight forward, release your hands. Chair pose. Shift the weight to the left foot, step back, crescent lunge. Interlace your fingers the other way, the one that feels weird with the other thumb on top. Little bend in the elbows. Draw your shoulder blades down away from your ears and then reach your knuckles back behind you. You could always put a strap in between your hands if interlacing them feels like it's too much. Squeeze that right glute, lift up, feel the whole torso rise up to the sky. One more time, step forward into your chair. Go low, belly in, knees don't go past your toes, do whatever you want with the arms. Couple more breaths, sit low, 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 it's almost done. Your brain's like, I can't do this. Good work, inhale, stand up, release your arms by your sides. Whew. Shake your legs out a little bit if you need to. We have one more kind of standing balance one we're gonna play with. Let's do the right foot first. So you're gonna stand on your right foot. Give a little bend in your right knee. You can step your left foot behind you, so it's like a little kickstand, but we're gonna take it off the floor in a second. The movement comes from my hip, not from my knee and not from my back, but it comes from my hip. So you're gonna hinge at your hip and start to stick your butt back behind you, bring your torso towards the floor so it's parallel eventually. Now lift your left foot off the floor. You can keep your left knee bent, or you can straighten your left leg so you're in a warrior three-ish position. Keep the weight in your right heel. Bend your left knee in again. Come upright. You can always put the left foot back down if you need balance support. Hinge again at your hip. Shift the weight into your right heel. Start to extend your left leg, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot of it, back behind you. Bend your left knee in, come upright. That's 2, we're gonna do 5. Hinge at your hip. Back stays straight, knee stays just like that. Don't bend it anymore. Reach that left leg back behind you, a little bit, a lot of it. Bend that left knee in, come back upright. 2 more. Hinge at your hip, belly stays strong, back is straight. You can start to slowly extend the left leg back behind you. Bend your left knee in, come back upright. I hope your right butt is on fire, mine is. Hinge at your hips. Weight in the heel rather than the toe, so that gets that glute firing. Whew, it's gonna cramp soon. Start to extend the left leg straighter. Hang in there. Good work, bend the left knee in, come back upright, and release that side. You can shake out your right leg. So if you didn't feel it in your right butt, know for this second go around, we're trying to feel it in the left. And I promise it's possible It's just a matter of learning how to do this hinge movement. That's when you're gonna be able to fire and engage these glutes. Put the weight in the heel rather than your toes gripping. Second side, so let's try the left leg down. Step your right foot back a little bit. Hinge at your hip. Put the weight in the right heel. The back stays totally straight. Belly engaged. Don't arch the back, so no back bend here. It's straight, just like you did for chair pose. Then start to lift the right foot off the floor. You can stay bent or totally straighten the leg. As soon as you straighten the leg, notice you want to go into your left toes. Resist it. Left heel is where the weight is. Bend the right knee. Come back upright. 1. Hinge at your hip. Put the weight in the left heel. Back stays straight. Don't overarch it. Extend the right leg back as much as feels all right for you. Bend the right knee in. Come back upright. 2. Hinge at your hip. Put the weight in your heel. Extend the right leg back as much as feels okay. Bend the right knee in, come back upright. 3, 2 more. Hinge at your hip. Nothing changes in your back. Nothing changes in your left knee. Slowly extend the right leg back. Bend the right knee in, come back upright. Last one. Hinge forward at your hip. Weight in the left heel. Extend that right leg back. Woo. Bend the right knee in, bring the torso upright. Whew. Shake that left leg out. So I promise it is possible to feel it here. Sometimes it takes a lot of practice. The more you do it, the more you'll be able to feel it there. Take your legs wide apart. Let's do right toes first. So turn the right toes, point straight ahead. Left foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. Side angle pose. Bend the right knee. Right elbow comes to right thigh. Reach your left arm alongside the ear. Some of you might want to block. So bring the right hand down to a block or to the floor if that feels accessible for you. You want to make sure you feel your right glute working. So you have to tuck and wrap. No sticking your right butt out. So tuck and wrap this glute underneath of you. That helps to point the right knee straight ahead as you reach your top arm up and over. The back leg is working. Squeeze that thigh muscle straight and strong. Squeeze your back glute straight, or squeeze your back glute so it's hard. You can even poke it and see if it's turned on. Reach the top arm long as you push your left foot into the floor. Good work. Inhale, rise all the way back up. Second side, side angle pose. If you had your block and you want to put it on the other side, go for it. Bend your left knee, left elbow, rest on left thigh. Same thing, now it's the left glute. It's got to do its work. Tuck and wrap under. So your butt should be pointing back behind you. Wrap it underneath you, feel that glute engage, your belly engages and lifts. Reach the top arm alongside the ear. Back leg is straight and strong. Squeeze your quad, squeeze your glute. Push that foot into the floor as you reach the top arm alongside the ear. Again, you can always bring the hand down to the floor, to a block. Do what feels best for your body. And you do the version that you can keep and maintain that good glute activation. If you lose it, then don't lower down so much. Good work. Inhale to rise all the way up. First side, we're going to do triangle pose to half moon pose. So if you know you want a wall nearby, go for it, grab a wall. We're going to start with 2 straight legs. Right leg points straight ahead. Squeeze your thighs strongly, belly engages. Start to hinge over your right leg, bringing the right hand to a block or to the floor. Same rules apply, so you want to get that same tuck and wrap of the right glute, tuck it underneath you. Open your torso up, reach your top arm straight up to the sky. Feel that big stretch in your right groin, your right hamstring. Use your breath. And then we're going to shift the weight into half moon. So do little baby steps or take one big hop, coming to balance on right hand, right foot. This is one of those great poses. You can probably appreciate sort of your own progress and journey of what you've been capable of with this pose. of the balance, of being able to engage your right glute as you tuck and wrap, of being able to keep the back leg straight and strong. Maybe you're able to look up. Some of you might even play with taking your bottom hand off the floor. That's a lot of core, a lot of right glute. Some of you might like to bend your left knee to come into a thigh stretch. Just please keep a little bend in your right knee, don't lock it out. You choose the version of the pose that you can breathe. You choose the version of the pose that you can maintain that right glute activation. That's pain-free, but challenging. And you play there. And you've all, I know you've all made progress with this pose, and you know there's more that's possible than even what you can do right now. Slowly release your left foot if you have it. Everybody bend your right knee, slow motion. This is part of the pose. Come back into triangle. Give a little bend in your right knee. Inhale, rise all the way up. Let's switch sides. Triangle on the left. Both legs straight. Squeeze your thighs strongly. Start to hinge over your left leg. Bring your hand to the block or to the floor. Same thing, tuck and wrap that left glute. Feel that big stretch in your left groin, your left hamstring. Even the right side of your torso, you might feel this. And then you can reach the right arm straight up to the sky. Steady breath. You can relax your gaze, relax your jaw. Find some kind of ease even though it's challenging. Bring your right hand to your hip, look down at the floor. You're going to shift forward, coming into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Keep a little bend in your left knee. So many variations. I just looked a little too far and I lost my balance, so I know, okay, let's keep my gaze in a little bit closer to my body. You can bend your top knee, coming into a thigh stretch. If you're doing that, just please spread the right toes. Squeeze the right glute as you kick the foot back behind you. Make your butt do some work to open that thigh. Don't just use your hand to yank on the foot. Okay, everybody, slow motion. If you have the foot, release it. Slowly bend the left knee. Slow motion, step back triangle. Little bend in the left knee, inhale to rise all the way up. Walk your feet in, shake them out if you need to. You're going to stand at the middle of your mat. Bring your feet to touch. Inhale to reach your arms up. Let's hold the left wrist with the right hand. Draw your belly and ribs back towards your spine so there's no arching in your back, the back bends. And then you're going to stretch up and over like you're crescenting over to the right. Keep pulling your ribs and belly in as you're crescenting up and over. You can stay here or you can turn this into a balance pose. So I balance on my left foot, lift your right foot off the floor, lifting the right toes to point up to the sky. And maybe you do it for a second and you come back to both feet and then you try again. So you have to shift your weight a little bit over towards the left in order to lift that right foot up. So you have to do this nice crescent shape in your body, in your torso. Good work. Inhale, come up. Release your hands down. Switch sides, so if you need to, put your feet back together. Inhale to reach up. Hold your other wrist, so I'm holding the right wrist. And then up and over, so I'm leaning, crescenting over to the left. When I crescent my arms and sort of torso over, my hips shift slightly to the right. That will help counterbalance, so if you want to take the balance version, you lift the left foot off the floor, left toes point up to the sky. Good work. Inhale, come back up to center, release your hands down. Let's go to a wall. We're going to do two things at a wall. The first one, we'll bring our hand onto the wall. Let's do right hand on the wall. My right hand is just a little bit higher than my right shoulder. Give a little bend in your right elbow. Encourage your right shoulder to move down, away from your ear. Now turn your toes and your torso away from that right arm to feel a stretch in the front of your chest here. Watch again your belly, and your back, you don't want to arch it. So pull your belly in, back stays straight. Push. To me, one of the keys is to really push my hand into the wall. And imagine I'm turning my chest away from the wall, even if it doesn't move anymore, to feel that big stretch in the front of the chest. I also imagine like I'm sweeping my inner right elbow more forward to feel a little bit more stretch in the front of the chest. And then inhale, slowly release that side. Other side, left hand goes to the wall. Left hand a little bit higher than left shoulder. Little bend in left elbow. Encourage your left shoulder to move down, away from your ear. Now turn your body and your chest away from that left arm. And stay active. Push that left hand into the wall. That's a big key component. Push it into the wall. Imagine you could, just a little bit, doesn't really move, but I'm imagining I can push or sweep my left inner elbow more forward to feel just a little bit more stretch. Again, it doesn't really move, but I'm imagining it moves to feel more sensation. Push into the wall. This side's way tighter for me. I'm left-handed, so maybe that's why. Whew. And then inhale to slowly release. Take a blanket and place it right at the wall, right where the wall meets the floor. I'm going to bring my blocks with me. If you have some, you can bring with you. We're going to do the thigh stretch, my favorite thigh stretch. So your right knee goes down, and my right knee is about a foot away from the wall. My right toes are on the wall, they're curled onto the wall, and I'm going to step my left foot forward. So I'm in this lunge pose. I have my hands on the blocks. Some of you might say here, really work on tucking that pelvis. Think like almost a little bit of cat pose. Like you're trying to tuck that pelvis under and try to squeeze your right glute. It's so hard. Mine's totally mushy right now. Okay, now I have it on, and then it'll stay on for about 2 seconds, and then it'll turn off, and then I try to turn it on again. So I know it's possible. I know I can do it. It's just a matter of getting some endurance to hold it there the whole time. You might stay here with your hands on your blocks. You might bring your hands to your front thigh, which is a little bit more intense. Try to keep squeezing that right glute. Like as soon as I came upright, it turned off. Oh, it's so hard. Try again, squeeze that glute. Big stretch through the front of your right hip. Some of you might want to reach the right arm up. You can even play with like a little side bend like we've been doing, or a little rotation to the left, rotating over the front leg. You just play with these little tiny movements and you find, okay, that's a good spot. It's pretty intense, but I can still breathe through it. I can still somewhat maintain my right glute turned on even if it's for a second. And then I try again. Good work. Inhale, come back up. And let's switch sides. Left foot at the wall, right foot forward. Take your time. So this side's different. See what this side's like. Squeeze that left glute. Try to do that little tuck. Really push your foot into the wall. I think that helps too. You can be here. You can come upright. Really squeeze. Try to get that left glute on. It's like halfway on for me. It's super hard, but I know it's there. I know it can work. You can reach the left arm up. You can reach both arms up. You can do a little side bending over to the right. You can turn a little bit to the right, turn your torso. So find the version that, okay, this is like a good angle right here. Keep drawing your belly in towards your spine. I'm imagining I'm turning my torso to the right a little bit. It's not big, it's just enough to kind of put tension Even changing the position of your hand can affect the stretch. Good work. Inhale to slowly release. Come on back to your mat. And you're going to start on hands and knees. Come down onto your elbows and interlace your fingers. We're going to come into dolphin pose. So elbows press into the floor, hands press into the floor. Curl your toes under, lift your knees off the floor, coming into dolphin. You can take your feet as wide as you want, whatever feels best for you. You can bend your knees, if that feels better on your low back and the backs of your legs. Some of you might be able to walk your feet in a little bit, which really stretches your hamstrings and your shoulders. Push down into your elbows, so your head doesn't face plant to the floor. Lift your hips way high to the sky. Deep breathing. And then come down to hands and knees and take a little child's pose just to recover. You can let your forehead rest on your hands or all the way down on the floor. You can stay more upright. Whatever feels restful for you. Just collect yourself, let your heart rate settle. Let's have you bring yourself back up to hands and knees. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Take your right leg straight back behind you. Bend your right knee. So your right sole of the foot points straight up to the sky. Keep your belly engaged. No back bend, no arching your back. So draw your belly towards your spine. Squeeze your right glute and try to lift your right foot higher to the sky. It might lift an inch. Hold. Squeeze that right glute. And then back off a little bit. And then shoot that right foot up towards the sky again. Squeeze that right butt muscle. Hold. Pull your belly in, no arching your back. Back off a little bit. Again, push that right heel up towards the sky. Squeeze your right butt. Back off a little bit. That's 3, 2 more. Squeeze your right butt. Push up, push up, push up. Like you can push the sole of the foot higher to the sky. Arms stay straight, belly stay strong. Back off a little bit. Last one. Squeeze your right butt muscle. Push that right sole of the foot up to the sky. Hold. And slowly relax. Second side. Left leg straight back. Bend your left knee. Squeeze your left butt muscle. Start to push your left heel higher to the sky. Whole sole of the foot. Hold. You'll notice one side doesn't move as much. Like this side doesn't really move. I don't get as much push up to the sky. Back off a little bit. That's 1. Squeeze your left butt. Push up, push up, push up to the sky. My left glute is shaking right now. Hopefully you're feeling the same burn. Back off a little bit. Again, squeeze your left butt. Push that heel up to the sky. Push it up, push it up, push it up. Back off a little bit. 2 more. Squeeze your left butt. Push up, push up, push up. Keep that knee bent. No arching your back. Push into the floor with your hands. Back off a little bit. Last one. Squeeze your left butt. Arms stay totally straight. And then slowly release. Good job. Press back into child's pose. This time, walk your arms over to the right. Stretch that left arm long, long, long. You can use your right hand to encourage your left butt to move towards your left heel more. Reach that arm long. Then we'll go to the other side. Walk your hands to the left. Use your left hand to push your right butt towards your right heel. Reach that right arm long. Feel a stretch along the right side of the torso underneath your right arm. And then inhale, come back to center. Up to hands and knees again. Extend your right leg back behind you. Bend your right knee like we just did. Flex the right foot. You can stay right here and just hold. Or you can reach around with your left hand to grab the inner edge of the left foot. Before you go anywhere, pull your belly in strongly. Squeeze your left butt and use your left butt muscle to reach the foot upwards like we just did. Then you can use your hand to tug on it a little bit more. Then you could kick your foot into your hand, helping it lift up a little bit more. But really squeeze your right butt to lift that foot up to the sky more. And you do it a couple of times. Squeeze that right butt, kick it up to the sky, use your hand to lift it up, kick your foot into the hand to lift it up. Push your right hand into the floor, hang in there, and inhale to slowly release. Good work. Second side. Extend your left leg back, bend your left knee. Left sole of the foot points up to the sky. Again, you can stay right here, just squeeze your left butt, shoot that left heel up to the sky. Or reach your right hand behind you, hold the foot, pause, squeeze your left butt to lift the foot. Then use your hand to lift the foot. Then kick your foot into your hand to lift the foot. Do it a couple more times. Squeeze your left glute. Foot into hand, hand into foot, squeeze your left glute. Use your hand to lift up, kick your foot into your hand to lift up. Good work. Inhale to slowly release. Step your right foot forward, coming into a lunge. We're going to do one more thigh stretch. So option is to do the first pose we did earlier today. You don't have to move your foot. You can keep your foot on the floor and reach up. Option 2, I kind of walk my knee back a little bit so I'm not right centered on my kneecap. I'm more on the top of my thigh. And then I'm going to bend my left knee and reach around with my left hand this time to hold the foot. I have a block underneath my right hand, which is kind of nice. You could have a couch or something you could help you balance. I'm working on pulling my heel to my foot, and I'm also working on bending my right knee. You could hold the foot with both hands. You could reach the right arm up to the sky. Try to squeeze your left glute here, which is, I don't know, mine's mush. Oh, it's so hard. So hard to do because we're stretching so much the front of the left hip, but we still try to engage it. Even if it doesn't turn on, still imagine you can. You've done it in other poses, you see it, oh, I just got it. You've seen it done in other poses and now it's gone. So it's like it's somewhat possible in my brain. And then I get it for a second and I'm like, ah, it is possible. And then it's gone again. Comes and goes. Good work. Slowly release that side. Let's try the other side. So left foot comes forward. You can be upright and work on being here, squeezing that right glute, reaching up. It's a great stretch through the front of the hip. Or walk your left knee back a little bit. Go a little deeper in that lunge. Bend your right knee, flare your toes, reach around, right hand holds foot. So I'm not straight down my kneecap, I'm more on my thigh. I have a block underneath my left hand. You could stay there, you could put it on a couch. You can bring your left hand all the way up. I'm actually going to bring my elbow. Pull your heel towards your butt, flare your toes. You could bend your left knee a little bit more. The side's a little easier, my right glute's stronger for me, so I can turn this one on. I get it, it makes sense, I see it, I feel it. You could hold the foot with both hands. You could reach the left arm up. Do the option that works for you. Inhale to slowly let go of that side. All right, come to lay on your back. Feet hip distance apart. Toes point straight ahead. Bend your elbows so that your palms face each other. We're setting up for bridge pose. Before you go up, draw your belly muscles in. Push down into your heels and then lift your hips up by pushing your heels down to use your butt muscles. And then push your elbows down to use some of your back muscles. Lift your hips up towards the sky. Feel your heart start to open towards your chin by shimmying your shoulders underneath of you a little bit more. Push those elbows down. You can stay right here. You can make your arms straight and hold the sides of the mat. You can interlace your fingers underneath of you. Lots of options for your bridge pose. If you're interlacing fingers, keep a little bend in your elbows so you don't lock them out. That makes my hands lift off the floor, which is okay. Squeeze your glutes, lift up. Open your heart towards your chin. And then inhale to slowly lower. One hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, and just breathe. Nice long exhales. Help you regulate your heart rate. Okay, bridge pose number 2. Same thing. Start with your elbows bent, palms face each other. Feet hip distance apart. Push your heels down, squeeze your butt, lift your hips up. Push those elbows down. Shimmy your shoulders under, and then do whatever you want with the hands. You can interlace them, you can hold the sides of the mat, you can stay right where you are. Push into your feet. Open your heart, like you can imagine it opening up toward your chin. And you can even imagine, like, as you push your feet down, your heart lifts more toward your chin. And then slowly lower down again. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. You start to feel that life force, right? You feel your breath, you feel your heartbeat, you feel your own strength, your own flexibility, not just physically, but emotionally flexible. We're capable of so much more than our brain even knows. And we start to feel that. The more we soften, turn inward. We let ourselves expand. Into what? I don't know. You expand and you see what's there for you. You're welcome to do one more bridge pose. That might be what we just did. That might be put a block underneath your pelvis for supported bridge. Those of you that practice full Urdhva Dhanurasana or full wheel pose, full back bend, if that feels like that's in the cards tonight, go for it. Have a blast and go for it. It's the same concept of bridge, making sure you're engaging your core and glutes as you push your arms straight and go into a full back bend. So whichever option you're choosing, make sure you're breathing nice and easily and steadily. If you're in supported bridge, you don't really have to engage anything. If you're doing an active version, really engage your glutes, your core. Feel your heart start to open, like it's moving away from your feet. Whenever you're finished, if you're in one of the active back bends, whenever you feel like you got your full fill of that back bend, then slowly lower down. And just rest and bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Everybody else, you can stay in your supported bridge if you're in that. If you're in a supported bridge, slowly lift your hips up off the block, slide the block away, lower your hips back down, and just feel. Take your feet as wide as your sticky mat, drop your knees to the right, take your arms out to a T for windshield wipers, flex both feet. You can look over the left shoulder if that feels okay in your neck. Inhale, come back up to center. Again, keep the feet wide, drop the knees to the left. You can look over the right shoulder if that feels okay on your neck, or look straight up. Flex both feet. And then inhale, come back up to center. Grab your strap, and you're going to take your right leg straight up to the sky and put the strap around the ball of the right foot, making the right leg completely straight. You can keep the left knee bent and place the sole of the foot on the floor, or you can completely straighten your left leg, whatever feels best for you. Try to squeeze your right thigh muscle strongly. Feel how that intensifies the sensation in the back of the right leg. Let your shoulders and elbows rest down into the floor. You can even close your eyes. And this is a good time to just kind of expand, right? We did all this hard work, focused attention, and we just kind of let ourselves expand into the possibility. Even the possibility of just letting the mind be a little quiet. Or the possibility of accepting where you're at right now, physically, emotionally, in your mind. So it doesn't have to be this big possibility of, the first female vice president, but it could be a smaller possibility of, can I just accept myself? Show love to myself. Hold the strap in the right hand, take the right leg out to the right. Only go as far out to the right as you can maintain your left pelvis on the ground. You can always rebend your left knee, like I'm doing, or you can straighten out that left leg. Push through the ball of the foot into the strap, squeeze your right thigh strongly. And even though the whole right leg, it feels like it's going out to the right, try to squeeze your right butt and sort of right inner thigh, like you're going to squeeze it in towards the left side. So it's not just flopping out to the side. How about the possibility of relaxing your jaw, not clenching your teeth? Realize the possibility of nice, slow, deep breaths. You use the strap to come back up to center. Hold the strap in the left hand, and you're going to go crisscross. So you go all the way to the outer edge of the left hip. I have a wall here, so I'm going to push my heel into the wall. Turn your belly to the right, reach your right arm to the right. Same thing, keep squeezing that right thigh, nice and strong. So the possibility of keeping the right thigh muscle engaged, even if it's for a second and then it turns off. Encourage your right outer hip. You can use your hand on it to move away from your head and torso. Feel that sensation of that outer right glute, right hamstring as you do that. Come back up to center, use the strap, little bend in your knee, and then slowly lower your right leg down into the floor. And let's switch sides to take the strap around the ball of the left foot. Reach your left leg straight up to the sky. You can keep a bend in your right knee, or you can straighten the right leg out. Again, let your shoulders, elbows rest down. Just enough effort to keep you engaging the left leg and to keep the left leg straight. Hold the strap in the left hand, take the leg out to the left. Use your left elbow to help brace it. I have a wall here, I'm going to use that too. You can keep the right knee bent or straighten it. Imagine you could squeeze your left sort of inner thigh, like you could squeeze it in towards your right inner thigh so the legs aren't just flopping out to the side. Spread your left toes. Nice steady breath. Use your hands, use the strap to inhale, come back up. Hold the strap in the right hand, then go crisscross. Go all the way onto that outer right hip. Sometimes I like to put a block underneath my left foot so it doesn't go all the way to the ground. It gives me a little support. Turn your belly to the left, reach your left arm to the left. Imagine you could draw the left shoulder down. Maybe it's not down now. Know that the possibility is there. It might happen in 10 years. But that left shoulder and the openness in the front of the left chest, it can happen. Just enough effort to spread those left toes, keep your left quad nice and strong. Encourage your left outer hip to move down, away from your head. Bend the left knee to come back up, use the strap, and then slowly lower the left leg down to the floor. You can hug both knees and toward your chest if that feels good, and give a little rock side to side. Taking any last little stretches that feel good for you, and then you'll allow yourself to completely rest into Shavasana. So Shavasana is one of those poses that it allows us the space to expand into our possibilities, into our capabilities. Sometimes if I can't sleep at night, I kind of imagine that I'm doing Shavasana. And I might ask myself, kind of almost like dreaming, if I could do anything, if I could be anything, if I could have a life any way I wanted it, what would it look like? Nothing holding me back, nothing in my way, no thoughts limiting me, no feelings of guilt and pressure from family limiting me, no judgments from society limiting me. No limitations of financial resources. What would your life look like? Where would you be? What would you do? Just dreaming. That's where the possibilities start to happen. In our own visions, and hopes and desires. Sometimes we know them, and sometimes we don't. They're hidden. So when we do meditation or Shavasana, we can expand into those maybe hidden dreams and aspirations. Or when we see others achieve those dreams and aspirations, it helps to ignite it within us so we can see it in our own self. So dream big as you rest into your Shavasana. to deepen. And slowly move and stretch in any ways that feel best for you. Eventually, you'll bend your knees, roll to your right side, rest there for a few moments. Thank and honor your body for its support in the practice and for all the ways that you've gained in awareness and understanding about the physical body and its movements. We're so grateful, bow into all of those that have gone before us, that have paved the way, that have inspired us, lifted us up, to let us see things that we never thought were possible. And we bow into our own hearts, into all those deep desires, even if we don't know them yet. Those dreams and hopes that we have for ourselves, for our family, for our world. It is possible. Use your hands to press yourself back to a seated position. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, palms touching. As always, I'm so grateful to be in your company in this virtual way so that we can come together as a collective and hold these intentions. And I'm so grateful for all the beings that have gone before, that have paved the way, that have inspired